go straight into our next speaker. I'm about to introduce to you Scott Moerland. He spent 11 years as a soldier in the Australian Defence Force and toured both Iraq and East Timor. Yes, that deserves our applause. Scott is politically incorrect. He's a man on a mission who has spent years studying the complexities of Islam. He's well known for his ability to stop the left-wing media and supporters in their tracks. Yeah, you've heard your say. With his extensive knowledge of Islam and the Quran. He will win any debate, let me tell you. I've heard him. Scott is an awesome Australian and seasoned speaker who we will welcome to the Sydney Rally for the first time. Scott is your typical larrikin Australian who has a wicked sense of humour but a huge heart for Australia, his wife, family. And Scott loves to remind people that he's just so handsome with his big nose. This man certainly has earned our respect and our ears. Please, can you welcome the one, the only, Mr. Scott Moerland.
I don't want to stand in the sun. Bloody hell, I'm from Queensland. I'm used to the heat, but right now I'm bloody sweating like a black fella at a Ku Klux Klan meeting. Or Muhammad at a preschool. See that clown get arrested over there? I left my young fella at home. If I'd have known the circus was going to be in town, I would have brought him along. I was a bit disappointed actually on the way in here. I was expecting a few more lefties than that. But have you ever heard him call us potatoes, like on the internet and that? Anyone know what the go behind that is? Well, I don't know either, but if they call us potatoes, I reckon they're mushrooms. They live in the dark and they feed on shit. I reckon if there was about 200 of the bastards over there, you'd be lucky to find 2 brain cells and a half a testicle between the whole fucking lot of them. Oh. Sorry, I got told just before I'm not allowed to swear, so there went half of my speech. But I heard Mr. Bolton let the F-bomb go, so I was like, okay, open slatter. First of all, I really want to reiterate, I want to thank the police. Can you put your hands together, please? There's a lot of them here, and I'm pretty sure they'd much rather be doing other things like handing out speeding tickets to people like me. It pisses me off that we have to have that many police here in today's society. We are exercising our lawful right to assembly, but we can't do it because of the amount of idiots that are in our society. Typically your Greens voting, socialist friggin' morons. Now, if you have a look on the internet, right, or you just get a dictionary and you look up what fascism is, these retards say that they are against fascism. But one of the key attributes of fascism is the forcible suppression of opposing views. What the friggin' hell do you think they're doing? They're hitting us. We've got 3 common enemies when it comes to the left. We've got the media. Okay, let's start with the friggin' media, actually. They always, okay, anyone who's got an IQ above 10 knows that they're chock-a-block full of left-wing bigots, right? Would anyone disagree with that? We do have some good media personalities out there, and a lot of them are actually coming to light right now. I'm a big fan of Paul Murray's, right-wing conservative, Andrew Bolt. And I was actually very surprised the other day, I don't know if anyone else saw this, that Mr. Joe Hildebrand, he's typically against us. He's always been against us, but even the other day, I saw a bit of a spiel from him on the internet, and I wouldn't say that he's starting to swing, but one of his quotes was, what did he say? I've been defending, these people for a very long time, and when they say stupid shit, like trying to ban criticism of Islam, it makes my job very hard. Here's a friggin' hint for you, Joe. Stop defending them. The media, the tactics that they employ, there's a lot of them. Like, for example, I'll take the first Reclaim rally, for example. All around Australia, we had 12,000 people show up to these rallies, right? About 10 or 12 neo-Nazi dickheads decided to show up down to Melbourne. Who did the media pay 100% of their attention to? Them. They didn't care about all the other 12,000 people from all different races and cultures. They focused 100% of their attention on them. They do other things, like if there's a big rally and the counter-protesting grubs are, allowed fairly close to us, which is good they're not today. If they burn the Australian flag, the report will read, an Australian flag got burned, but they won't say who burnt the actual flag. If a knife gets confiscated off a counter-protesting grub, they'll say, oh, a knife was confiscated at a Reclaim Australia rally. And you cannot go past any headline with regards to this movement without it saying far right-wing extremist group, Just little things like that they play on the public's conscience, and it's really starting to annoy me. Actually, it's been annoying me for a long time. Now, the other enemy we've got is obviously the grubs, the counter-protesting unwashed crowd, right? What do? They try to shut us down 24/7. Like, they're always on the internet. When they have the counter-protesters, they're not here to actually, offer an opposing view to what we're saying. They're here to make noise and shout us down, shout down what we're actually saying. That's it. They're trying to forcibly suppress opposing views. Social media. All of us here, the reason half of us know each other is from social media. It's a bit of a two-edged sword with Facebook. The left-wing grubs are always on there. I've been called some pretty horrific things, like a baby killer, a war criminal, simply because I served my country over in Iraq and East Timor. They don't care. They say this sort of stuff to get a reaction out of me, and me being me, I'm pretty hot-headed. I give it to them, and then they press the frigging report button and, another 30-day ban, thanks for coming. They constantly shut down right-wing conservative pages at the drop of a hat. They've got a Facebook page which has been doing the rounds now called Diggers of Dole Bludgers, right? That's been up for a couple of years now. I remember a couple of years ago, someone actually put a page up called Muslims are Dole Bludgers. It was shut down within 24 hours. And considering Muslims actually account for an unemployment rate of twice that of the average Aussies, which is nearly 13%, that at least there's a little bit of truth to that. Okay, there's some other people that I really want to thank. Anyone here, while I'm talking about social media, I brought my wife here with me today. She's been to one other rally, and I'm sure everybody else here has partners, and these idiots and these arsewives on the internet, they've got the ability to really, really wind us up. Okay, and unfortunately, it's always my wife that has to, pick up the pieces and bring me back to earth, when I would do anything to get through that frigging computer and grab these little grubs and put their head through the wall, you know what I mean? I'm sure that there's a lot of other patriots here who feel the same way. So if we can we put our hands together for the wives and the partners of all those in this movement. Now, the reason they silence the left, they always try to silence our views, is because they've got no views of their own. They've got none whatsoever. This is the way a typical argument with a leftard goes. You'll hit them with a barrage of facts, right? It goes in 5 steps. Admit nothing, deny everything, make counter-accusations, and if that doesn't work, they'll divert the topic onto something else. And number 5, when all else fails, just start chanting or start calling us names. That's the way their whole tactics work. It's pretty easy to shut down, but still. We'll use a few examples, okay? Let's talk about pedophilia within Islam. Now, anyone who's done any research into Islam whatsoever will know that the person who started Islam was a pedophile. He married a friggin' 6-year-old child. For crying out loud. And this is the person that 1.5 billion people on the planet believe to be the best example of mankind. For crying out loud. When the aid workers went into Afghanistan after the invasion, they discovered that over 60% of the girls there were already married by age 10. You can actually tell a leftard this. You know what they'll say? What about the pedophile priests? Well, it's illegal for starters. Over in a lot of Muslim countries it's not, and if it is, it's not enforced. Then you hit them with that, and then they'll just call you racist or bigot or some crap after that. Or we could talk about the murder rate within Islam. Since 9/11, there has been 32,000 Islamic terrorist atrocities. 32,000. That's an average of in between 5 and 8 per day. Right? Since Islam got started, there's been over 270 million murders in the name of jihad. Other religions have their extremists too. Okay. Nothing like that. Nothing that accounts for 270 million murders. Then they'll, when they talk about other religions having their extremes, and I agree, they all do. You show me one order from the Bible in the New Testament where Jesus orders Christians to kill people. You won't find it. None whatsoever. Just take an example, right? When Jesus was being arrested and he was about to be crucified, one of his disciples struck off one of the arresting officer's servant's ears. Jesus immediately rebuked him. If there was ever a time when he would want his followers to fight in his name, that would have been it. Wouldn't you agree? Didn't do it. There is one verse, it's the Gospel of Luke, chapter 19, verse 27. In context, it doesn't mean what it says. It actually says, bring all those who don't want me to reign over them and slay them before me. But if you actually read, 10 lines before it, he's telling a parable, he's telling a story about a rich man who had said this to his servants. You can tell this to the left and, they'll start calling your names and all that sort of crap. I'm sorry, when they said I wasn't allowed to swear, that went bloody, half of my speech was gone. Okay, when they've actually exhausted the 5-step process, they normally go back to step 4, which is divert the attention onto another problem that the world is facing. Nowadays, I've noticed it's actually domestic violence. I mean, what are you worried about Islam for? What about domestic violence? How many people get killed there? I'm like, no one's denying that domestic violence is a problem. Every single country in the world has a problem with domestic violence. What the fuck's that got to do with Islam? Yeah, well, we could go there, but yeah, then I'll be talking for another freaking half an hour. Now, have you ever noticed lately that Muslims aren't actually coming out opposing us? They don't really need to. They've got all the retards doing it for them. When they do come out and they get very vigorous, that's when we know we've got them on the back foot, because they don't have the clowns sticking up for them anymore. Now, can I ask you all a question? Who here would like to see Islam banned? I'm very sorry to tell you guys and girls, it ain't ever going to happen, all right? I'd love to see it banned too. I know what you're thinking. The country of Angola has had it done, but we need to be practical, okay? You're never going to be able to ban a mindset. It's a political ideology. You can ban the political aspects of it, but if someone's going to be a Muslim, they're still going to be a Muslim. Fair enough? Who would like to see the Islamic State blown off the fucking face of the planet? I would too. But at the end of the day, what's it going to achieve? In 6 months' time, there'll be another terrorist bloody group that pops up. We've had Al-Qaeda, we've got Boko Haram, we've got Hamas, we've got Hezbollah. There's nearly 100 different Islamic terrorist organisations on the planet right now. And each and every one of them, they are all competing vigorously for the International Fuckwit of the Year award. Now, it's my firm belief here that the only way we're going to tackle this issue is to confront Islam theologically. A bloke over there held up the Bible before. How many Christians have we got here? Can we get a show of hands, please? How many atheists or agnostics have we got? Quite a few. It's typically half and half within our movement, and it's good to see that we're all working together. Can I challenge the atheists to learn a little bit about the Bible? And the reason I say that is because have any of you ever tried to convert a Muslim to believing that there is no God? How'd you go? Not much luck. The only chance we have is to teach them that Muhammad was a false prophet, and you can only do that theologically. And it's actually pretty easy to do. But in saying that, it's also very hard to do. I can use the example. Has anyone ever heard of a bloke named David Burt? He's a Yank. He's in a lot of YouTube videos, wears glasses, staunch Christian apologist, anti-Islam person. Well, his best mate is actually a Muslim, or ex-Muslim I should say. Now, there is not many people on the planet of Islam's critics who know more about Islam than this bloke. And it took this guy 3 years to convert, his name's Nabil Quresh, from Islam to Christianity. But when he eventually did it, this Nabil Qureshi bloke now, he has actually converted thousands and thousands in America alone of Muslims over to Christianity. Now, the ex-Muslims, they are our staunchest asset in this movement. I've said it 1,000 times and I'll keep saying it. The media can't call them a racist, can't call them a bigot or a Nazi. The trouble is what they are doing right now, and we've got a lot of them, they're just ignoring them. It's another one of the media's tactics. What they typically do, not at this rally, but I've seen them at other rallies, they'll search around like a bunch of vultures. They won't go for the people who actually know what they're talking about. They will look for the biggest, fattest, tattoo sporting, singlet wearing, toothless, friggin' redneck they can find, and they'll go, yeah, I just want to hate the Muslims. And they'll use that to paint a picture of all of us. Okay, I've got a little bit more here to say, but we're a little bit pressed for time, so I'm going to try and wrap it up. I saw an interview the other day with just a random lefty over in the United States after the Donald Trump inauguration. And this guy actually said, the interviewer said to him, he goes, you know, what are you protesting against and what are you so worried about? And he turned around and says, we're worried that for the last 30 to 40 years, this guy's going to, and the right-wing movement are going to bring down everything we've been working towards. You know what? You're fucking right, we are. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I implore anyone who doesn't know anything about Islam to learn. And if you still don't think that there is a problem with Islam, it's not because there's no problem with Islam, it's because there's a friggin' major problem with you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for allowing me to talk today.
Mr. Scott Moerland! And can everyone please hold up their placards? Show us what you got. Let the media see it. Show the crowd at the back there. Okay, there's people standing up with so many different issues, and it all falls under the same banner of patriotism. Thank you for bringing those today. I want to introduce...
Tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye for now.